everybody, welcome back to Pear Tree Paper Crafts. It's Marie here and I'm back with a 12 by 12 process video for Cut to You. So this one classes as an advertisement. I'm using the Happy Christmas cut file today, and I've actually cut this cut file twice. So the first time I cut it, I did it out of textured white cardstock, and the second time I used a piece of paper from a winter collection. I think it's a Perfect Winter from Echo Park, and I chose to cut it twice because I wanted to do what you can see there, which is to inset the wood grain into the white outline. So I do take a little bit of time here trying to decide which photograph to use. I've got lots of Christmas photographs left over, and I always do, if I'm going to use a colour photograph, I do like to match the colour of the photograph to the papers that I'm going to be using. And since I've decided to use this wood grain paper, I do decide in the end to go with that photograph there of my son stood at the Christmas trees and the signpost for Windsor on Ice. So we went down to Windsor last Christmas, and we found that they had an open air ice rink, proper ice as well. Some of the ones we get in this country are they're not proper ice, they are like synthetic, and they're not the same. So this was proper ice, and I've always wanted to do some outdoor skating with my son, so yeah, we decided to go. So I just snapped a quick picture of him stood at the front. I'm also going to add a perspective on to add to my title. So I've currently picked out the words remember and together. I don't end up using both of them, but I do use one, and you'll see that later. So I've just matted so far my photograph onto some white cardstock, just because I wanted a little bit of an edge. And I'm going to give it a bit of a shadow round by putting it on some adhesive foam, just to prop it up off the page, so you can just get that little sense of a shadow round, which gives it that bit of dimension. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cut file down. I'm going to do it with the white. Now normally I would prop up the whole cut file, but because of the way I'm going to do this today, I don't need to prop up the whole thing. So I'm going around it very carefully with some glue, and I'm going to stick it down as it is just onto the sheet underneath that photograph. So I'm just going to place it in the middle. I've got this new cut mat. I know many people have these cut mats, and I think they're really useful for trying to centre things, getting things in the right place, because you can make sure you've got things correct. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some dimension underneath each of the individual letters that I've cut out in that pattern wood grain paper, so that they go on and they pop inside of each letter, and they pop out, so it's kind of it's not unmatted, it's popped up the other way, which is something I've not done before, but I really like the effect it gives. So I do the same thing for each letter, making sure that I do prop up each part of each letter, because I think you've got to make sure that the whole letter's propped up, because I don't know about you where you store your layouts, but mine go in albums, and I know that once they've kind of sat in an album and they get a little bit squished, you want to make sure that the whole letter is propped up. So that's all I'm doing here, and just making sure that there's plenty of foam on the back of each one. I don't make you watch it all, because it does take me a little while to do all the letters. So the next thing I move on to is that perspective, and I do decide just to put the word together on underneath Happy Christmas, so it's Happy Christmas together. I did love that word remember, but they're just slightly different fonts, and I didn't like the way they looked sort of next to each other on the same layout, so I decided not to use that word remember. I do put glue on it, and I do think I'm going to, and then just as I'm kind of going to place it down, I change my mind completely and take it back off again. But that's fine, because the glue dries and I can just stick it stick it onto another layout later. So now I'm just taking the A Perfect Winter ephemera from Echo Park and just popping the little tiny snowflakes around that title. They fit in really, really well with the layout. And I've popped that tree there at the right hand side, and I think I like that other little tree with a bird on for the left hand side of the photograph. I am going for kind of a theme here, and I know I don't want to do too much. I'm just playing with them and trying to get them into a position that I'm happy with. I and ah about that tree quite a lot, and it goes on and it comes off. So just checking through those pieces and seeing what I've got. pop the little fox on, but then I take him back off as well. And I love how it's looking. I know it needs something else. I'm just looking through the rest of the ephemera that I've got left and seeing if there's anything else that I want to tuck in here. I think this is part of the fun of scrapbooking though, that you can swap and change your mind. And it's okay, and it doesn't matter if you want to change your mind and change up what you're doing. So I think I've decided now that tree and that little reindeer, they're both going to go at the right hand side of the photograph, kind of overlapping a little bit. And then I was thinking of popping this tag in there, but then I go back through these and see if there's anything else I want to pop on. Don't think there's anything else in here that's going to work necessarily on this layout. The little characters work beautifully though. Right, I'm now about that one, pop it back away again. And then I find a chipboard version of the bird on the tree, and I think actually that one looks better. It's bigger and it stands out better. So he's going to go on there. I did like that little penguin as well, but couldn't squeeze him in. And then what I do decide to do is just put something down this edge, and I do like a little bit of torn paper. So I've cut a strip off and I'm going to pop that there. And then I've got I was umming and ahhing about that. That's a sticker at the top of the cardstock sticker sheet. But then I think I prefer this blue. But rather than having a nice neat edge, I'm going to just tear down there and have that one instead. And then I'm going to do the same with the blue, and I'm just going to tear down the edge. And I'm tearing specifically so that I end up with a white edge showing. And then I shall fasten those two together. And then I shall put them onto the layout just down that edge. And I think that finishes off that edge beautifully. And then just to give a little bit of balance, what I do is I do a little tear at the right hand side. Oh, I'm just sticking down my tree. And do a little tear over at that right hand side in the same way that I've done I've done that on many different layers, and this time I'm going to like tuck it in, so it's just kind of poking out from behind. And that's about it for my layout. A lovely cut file to work with, and there's loads more Christmas cut files in the shop. I'll leave the link in the description box below, but be sure to check them out because yeah, there are some absolutely gorgeous ones in there, and I can't wait to use my next one. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.